So let's examine the actual administrative cosmology behind what um, Queenbag and her hegemon, Murder Monkey himself, have turned into a campaign to exterminate and assassinate more or less at will. And it's the cosmology, administrative cosmology, of the idea that I was hunting a virgin. I wanted to go into some details about how this got kicked off into the labyrinthian war game that's going on. They, of course, ignored that Grace and Mickey both offered me their virginity, and I turned them down. I was interested in what Leslie was pulling and doing, what it was doing to me by the whisper campaign that was going on and so on, the innuendos. I mean, Zionists are really creepy when it comes to putting people down. It's really ugly, derogatory way they slur people. And they get other people to do it. Derogatory mentalities like that have to be stopped or they become contagious. And sometime after the summer, we all went to the governor's school. I guess it must have been 2 years later or something, 1980 or something like this. The participants were invited to apply to be residence assistants a following summer. And Leslie was with Balakian and Deb Burnham, not Bushnell, no, Burnham. When I sent the letter that they made into a farce. And she came to visit me to make out and stuff, that when she got home, and introduced me to some people from CMU. One of them had been there that summer. I didn't know him, but he had been for my summer at BGSA. His name was Brian Kopp. And he winced and said, I read that letter, and whoosh. So he got word to Matt Marcus that I was just Matt Marcus put it, beat me, made me write bad checks on the elevator is what he wrote. Or one of his gang wrote, and he said, you're fucked up, don't take your fucked upness out on us. And this is the dude, by the way, who burned two girls' arms gangrenous with a poker from a fireplace, supposedly to bring them out back to reality while working in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. And Brian Kopp says whoosh about my letter. Leslie Katz used to go out in the woods screaming with Amy Shapiro, we're going to rape, kill, pillage, and burn. Going to rape, kill, pillage, burn any babies, which was the truth about her gig with Nosferatu. And I was in abhorrence of what she was implying about me, rebuking her. Now, there's no chance in a million years I would have gotten involved with Toon's bimbo. If I had known that Rosa was with Toon, I would have shunned her completely. I didn't know she was a virgin. All of this stuff goes out the window with Twisted Ankle Louie and his sad like Cherry Smith. You know, I could be anyone. It's a jam-packed innuendo in that nom de guerre. Well, Brian Kopp called me up. He wanted me to get involved in reviewing the program of a Krim Madani. Now, Krim Madani was a trading partner with Schulman in those days and a faculty administrator in fine arts. So let's look at that name. Now, if somebody had asked me, what can Crimson fans consider themselves? I would have said devotees maybe. Well, that's known. The official Crimzo fan is known as a Krim. So a Krim and then Maduri. So you can see the machine intelligence framework of the labyrinth that was there. In fact, Hunt Library's Dewey Decimal System or alphanumeric Library of Congress system, I guess it was, for a long time had encryptions about what Leslie was doing. LK leading the Virginia, I forget exactly what it was. It was something was so brazen and in your face. So I waved it away like tear gas. By the Cremadoni and Peter Balakian are Levantins, and there's sort of the idea that like there was an Iranian girl with Schumann a lot. Idea that the immediate gratifier of the West, the Lobaton Jimmy zombie who wants a girlfriend and who's deaf to Allah should be taken down and humiliated as a symbol of the West so that Putin can ride high with Trumpy tune. Was very deeply ingrained in the faculty mystique of Dick Sire, Herbert Simon, Deb Martin. I mean, Reagan had a very malicious machine in Pittsburgh, and it wasn't really just the Steelers and their Green Party Panthers pussy ball stuff. He was a real deviant. And he sent in Martin Sheen, who was passing the collection plate for Eirene and the Catholic workers, while being a real ball breaker and sadist. Hollywood was, working with Ming the Wen on saying that death row wants blood over Lenin and this kind of jest. So what happened was that Brian Kopp and Ben and Evan Nauer and got the persona from Greg Carl and Ralph Karsh and said, that's him. That's Jimmy Query. Ask anybody. And they were selling this stuff about being an unrequited crybaby to cover for the fact that had been put through a Manson ordeal, was kidnapped repeatedly as a child, as a deaf child. Pictures have emerged that make a laugh of Penis Gabriel's claims that it didn't happen. The trauma is horror, the absolute shock and depravity that I was obviously subject to is encrypted all over my features. I'm barely recognizable. But they insulted every man, woman, and child on earth with great malice at King Crimson, because Adrian Belew was working the hot wires with Zappa. Hey, we got this guy who could have saved John Lennon but was hunting the Virgin, man. And that was what they were planning. That was the strange, weird Wayne's World genius of the whole plan behind the scenes with John Lennon. Everybody's got something to hide. Said me, my monkey could have said, you could have saved me, Jimmy. I was in the womb and you could have saved me, Jimmy. That's what John Lennon put together with the Wayne's World type of crowd that was there. And they were saying Howard Stern stuff and Frank Zappa stuff. And the enemy within blurts this thing about carrots that was ingrained, implanted by linguistic anthropologist Jaime Carbonell and then extruded was the key term. And you could tell that because he was working with the women who were behind the soundtrack of Revolution Number 9, implanted in the queerbait when he was in a state of, being electroded by Woody Allen's Everything You Wanted to Know About Sex But Were Afraid to Ask Queerbait. This is the psychiatric system of corrections that Wattenmaker and Reagan put together. The psychiatrist for Attica State Prison was a Zionist in charge of a brutal mafia of car thieves in the Eastminster District. Absolutely brutal. And their leaders were named Ronnie and Casper. And Pitmen, which is like the quarrymen. And lo and behold, there's all of these little miracle things to make it worth Van Gogh, There's all these weird microscope shock effects, like giving me scabies on Mount Desert Island, putting me into Parkinson's and giving medicine, have TV for Trump Vance and Terry Visca. TV, you're looking at porno, that's Into the Devil. So we have a war on sin. Wow, and Gail Burston, yeah, and Ronnie Zazinski. And Tyson is going to take charge of the Palestinian little girls. This is the madhouse we're getting ready for another copious experience park of Donald Toon's maniac ideas and the powers that he has cultivated to use. But it's a labyrinthian machine intelligence word game that John Lennon gave the title for. I have all the semiotics copied from international cinema. They called it Two Virgins. The Gwiener Croquet Greguster crowd called it Two Virgins. And they were like, it's too good to be true. Our enemies have celebrated our ideas. It's too good to be true. Our enemies have celebrated our ideas. And they expect that not to be reviewed. This is an academic society we were talking about. You think you're going to pull something like that without review? The facts, the check and balance all of their claims and their stuff have been ruled inadmissible. When I put up even a charitable critique of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in TikTok, it disappeared instantly.